What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be checking out the real reason why France won't leave Niger. Let's get to it.
Well, we've been hearing a lot about coups across Africa and the growing anti-France sentiments across the entire continent. We have seen military juntas that have demanded the French leave their countries after taking down their former presidents, who were French allies. The French seem to have taken the demand to leave Mali and Burkina Faso lightly. However, France has taken the Niger junta's demand to leave Niger seriously and is strongly denying leaving the country.
Why is
In
that?
today's video, we will look at the reasons why France is refusing to leave Niger despite the protests and prayers outside the French embassy in Niamey by the Nigerians. The Niger military has also blocked food supplies to the embassy and cut off water and electricity supplies to the French embassy. This video will partly explain why ECOWAS, under the chairmanship of Nigeria's president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has threatened military intervention in Niger if the junta does not reinstate ousted President Bazoum. Let us start with the first reason, which is obvious and we've already made a video about it on our channel, The New Tourist. France, the former colonizer of Niger, is heavily dependent on uranium from Niger. Niger is the seventh largest producer of uranium and is one of France's top suppliers of uranium. Niger supplies over 20% of the uranium France needs to operate its 56 nuclear reactors in 18 power plants. Orano, the French-owned company, is responsible for mining uranium at 3 different sites in Niger. The R mines, the Ikokan mining site, and the Imoran mine in Niger are all under exploitation by Orano. Since the junta took over Niger, they've increased the price of Niger's uranium from 80 cents to 200 euros per kilogram. Canada, another supplier of uranium to France, sells its uranium at 200 euros per kilogram, but France buys uranium from Niger at 80 cents per kilogram. From the calculations, Orano alone reaps off Niger about $54 billion every
Wow.
year from the exploitation of uranium alone.
And see the people who work the jobs, who have to go dig out the uranium. See their faces. I'm not even sure they get paid or get paid well.
Orano has been mining uranium in Niger since 1971. In May, Orano signed new contracts with the Nigerian government, extending French uranium mining in the country until 2040. In 2022 alone, France imported 1,440 tons of uranium from Niger, which was 20.2% of the 7,131 tons imported that year. Niger supplies almost 20% of France's uranium needs and accounts for a fifth of the EU's total uranium imports. Before we continue, we want you to remember that European countries depended on Russian gas. However, the supply of Russian gas has seemingly stopped since the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, EU countries, including France, tend to rely on other sources of energy like uranium and supplies of gas from other countries. France cannot fight Russia to get gas, but they see Niger, their former colony, as an easy card when it comes to getting uranium. Do you now see why France doesn't want to leave Niger? In fact, the EU needs Niger, at least to some extent, because it is a source of cheap uranium for them.
Not anymore, right?
But with the anti-Western junta in place, France and the EU won't be getting any more cheap uranium from Niger. France thinks that they can easily handle the Niger junta as compared to Russia. This is just the first reason that explains why the French are refusing to leave Niger. What do you think? If you're enjoying this video, then encourage us to produce more videos like this by liking it, sharing it with your friends and family, and turning on notifications so you get alerts when we upload new videos like this one. Now let us go to the second reason. We already know that the EU is facing energy challenges since Russia is no longer able to supply EU countries. As a result, they have to turn to other sources. We also know that ECOWAS has been threatening military intervention in Niger since the junta took over. Now, let us tell you about the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, which you may not have heard of. The Trans-Saharan gas pipeline is a proposed pipeline that would run through Niger. The pipeline would start in the Wari region of Nigeria and run north through Niger to Hassi R'Mel in Algeria, as you can see on the map. The pipeline would be about 4,128 kilometers long. 841 kilometers of the pipeline would pass through Niger. The Trans-Saharan gas pipeline was first proposed in the 1970s. In June 2022, the energy ministers in Algeria, Niger, and Nigeria revived the project after the EU was in dire need. The estimated cost of the project is about $13 billion. The pipeline would send about 30 billion cubic meters of supplies to Europe each year. Do you see that the Niger coup threatens to dash one of Nigeria's most ambitious infrastructure projects and the country's ticket to the European gas market?
I don't know if it was a rumor, but I saw a video on TikTok that it was blown up. Did you guys see that video? Yeah, I think it might have been false because I don't hear anybody else speaking about it besides that video. And I did try to look it up. I didn't see any other updates.
Nigeria, Africa's biggest oil producer but a marginal gas player, has declared the 2020s to be a decade of gas. However, the plan risks collapsing altogether after a military coup in Niger in July saw the Nigeria-led regional bloc ECOWAS threaten to deploy troops. Meanwhile, domestic infrastructure woes in Nigeria, particularly on the faltering AKK pipeline, have led many to question the viability of a project that aims to connect Africa's biggest gas reserves with European countries looking to replace Russian hydrocarbons. Much of the Trans-Saharan pipeline's $13 billion in capex will be spent in Niger, which currently produces just 20,000 barrels of oil per day and scant gas, but is due to bring the 110,000 barrels per day Chinese-built Niger.
Well, so that's it for this video. You've seen the reason why France refused to leave Niger speculatively. Feel free to do your own research before you consider anything a fact. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. The natural resources, that's the summary, the resources and also the pipeline. They need allies for the pipeline to work efficiently. Otherwise, what if Niger said we're going to cut it, or we're going to stop it from passing through our nation, or we want to charge you more for it passing through our nation? They have the rights to do that. So that's why they need allies or alliance with Niger. Let me know. Feel free to share your thoughts. If there's anything you want to add, correct, or critique in that video, please do so in the comment section. That being said, smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a very wonderful day. Peace. I made this bet on my own, bet on my own.